From overwhelm to action, how to simplify and get things done. The constant buzz of demands, deadlines, and endless to-do lists can leave us feeling stuck in a cycle of perpetual motion, but never progress. The more we try to juggle, the heavier the weight becomes, until we feel like we're drowning in the chaos. It's not a lack of desire or effort that holds us back, but the overwhelming complexity of it all. In fact, the harder we try to push forward, the more we seem to stumble, trapped by distractions, endless tasks, and a creeping sense of burnout. But what if productivity didn't have to be a constant battle against time? What if there was a way to break free from the weight of your responsibilities, simplifying your path, and making your progress feel natural and effortless? The key lies not in doing more, but in learning how to do less and do it better. When we learn to cut through the noise, focus on what truly matters, and create space to act without overwhelm, the shift is not only powerful, but transformative. In this fast-paced world, the temptation is to rush from task to task, driven by urgency and the desire to keep up. But in the pursuit of doing it all, we often lose sight of what's truly important. The most successful individuals don't get there by working harder or faster. They thrive because they've mastered the art of simplification, of focusing on the essential, and allowing that focus to fuel their progress. The time to reclaim control over your life and work is now. It's time to break down the barriers that hold you back, strip away the unnecessary, and get things done in a way that feels sustainable and empowering. There's a rhythm to productivity, one that is built on clarity, focus, and intentional action. But first, we must unlearn the habits of overwhelm that keep us trapped in a cycle of stress. The answers are within your reach. All it takes is the willingness to change your approach and adopt a simpler, more effective way of working. This journey is about finding that clarity, embracing the process, and taking action in a way that feels purposeful and, above all, doable. Chapter 1. Understanding the weight of overwhelm. There's a distinct weight that comes with feeling overwhelmed. It's the sensation of being buried under a mountain of tasks, the constant nagging thought of things left undone, and the pressure of time slipping away faster than you can keep up. This isn't just a mild discomfort. It's a mental and emotional strain that pulls your focus in all directions, draining your energy and clouding your ability to think clearly. When the mind is overwhelmed, it becomes hard to discern what truly matters, and every decision, no matter how small, feels heavy and loaded with consequences. This emotional toll is not something that can simply be shaken off. It manifests in real, tangible ways that affect your mental and physical well-being. Anxiety often creeps in, not from any one specific source, but from the sheer number of things you feel responsible for managing. Every task on your to-do list demands attention, and that pressure builds up, weighing heavily on your mind. The body reacts to this constant mental strain, tension in the shoulders, difficulty sleeping, racing thoughts that can leave you feeling exhausted, even though you've barely scratched the surface of your workload. This emotional toll of overwhelm is not just an inconvenience, it's a productivity killer. The more overwhelmed you feel, the harder it becomes to make decisions. Small tasks turn into mountains, and even the most straightforward actions feel complicated. Instead of taking clear, decisive steps forward, the mind becomes bogged down with questions. What should I tackle first? What's most urgent? What will happen if I don't get everything done? This spiral of indecision only deepens the sense of overwhelm, making it even more difficult to find a way out. Overwhelm is a mental fog that clouds your ability to make productive decisions. Instead of acting with purpose, you spend precious energy simply trying to regain control. The more you push to get things done in the face of overwhelm, the more you often find yourself spinning in circles. Tasks pile up, and deadlines loom, but your ability to focus and prioritize is diminished. The clearer you could see your path, the easier it would be to take the next step. But when the mind is clouded, it feels impossible to know where to begin. To break free from this cycle, it's essential to understand what's causing the overwhelm in the first place. It doesn't come from one single source, but from a combination of factors that seem to converge at once. For some, it's a backlog of uncompleted tasks. For others, it's the constant demands of work, family, and personal expectations. Technology has its role to play too. Constant notifications, emails, and alerts all pull your attention in different directions, making it hard to stay focused on any one thing. Another key factor is the internal pressure we place on ourselves. In our quest for perfection and success, we often stretch ourselves too thin. We take on more than we can reasonably handle, driven by a fear of falling behind or not being good enough. We think that if we just work a little harder, push a little further, we'll be able to handle it all. But this approach only deepens the sense of overwhelm, as it ignores the human need for balance, rest, and strategic thinking. Understanding these root causes is the first step toward escaping the grip of overwhelm. By recognizing the layers of pressure, expectation, and responsibility that contribute to this feeling, you can begin to dismantle it. Instead of reacting to the chaos with more chaos, you can start taking action that brings you back to a place of clarity and control. Chapter 2. The Power of Clarity and Focus. In the midst of the constant hustle, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. The barrage of distractions, demands, and to-do lists creates a storm of noise that makes it difficult to see clearly, let alone make purposeful decisions. But the secret to moving from overwhelm to meaningful action lies in the power of clarity and focus. When your mind is clear, the path forward becomes obvious, and you gain the ability to move with intention, rather than simply reacting to external pressures. Clarity begins with defining what is truly important. It's easy to be busy, but being busy doesn't necessarily mean being productive. When you lack clarity, you may end up scattering your energy on tasks that don't align with your highest priorities. The first step in reclaiming control over your time and energy is to identify what matters most. This is more than just creating a list of goals. It's about digging deeper to understand your core values, your long-term vision, and what you truly want to achieve. When your actions align with these guiding principles, the sense of purpose and direction that comes with clarity helps you navigate the overwhelming tasks that lie ahead. Once you have a clear understanding of your priorities, it becomes easier to cut through the noise. The world is full of distractions, unimportant emails, social media notifications, unsolicited requests for your time. Without clarity, these distractions seem like urgent matters, demanding your immediate attention. But when your priorities are well-defined, you start to view these distractions differently. Instead of reacting impulsively, you can filter out what doesn't contribute to your goals and stay focused on what does. The ability to say no to the unnecessary is a powerful skill that helps preserve your energy for what truly matters. When you consciously decide what not to do, you clear the mental and emotional space needed to focus on the tasks that will drive real progress. Focus, however, isn't simply about avoiding distractions. It's about directing your energy to a singular task and immersing yourself in it fully. This depth of focus creates a flow state, a mental space where you lose track of time and work with complete immersion. In this state, distractions seem irrelevant, and even the most challenging tasks become manageable. The key to entering this state of focus is intentionality. Rather than multitasking or splitting your attention across several things at once, you commit to doing one thing at a time and giving it your full attention. This concentrated energy allows you to make meaningful progress in less time. When you operate with clarity and focus, decision-making becomes less of a struggle. Rather than wading through confusion and uncertainty, you're able to make choices with confidence. Every decision you make is aligned with your priorities and values, which simplifies the process and removes the fear of making the wrong choice. Clarity not only provides the framework for making better decisions, It allows you to trust your judgment. When you know what matters most, it becomes easier to make decisions that support your long-term vision, even when the path forward isn't immediately clear. The beauty of clarity and focus lies in their compounding effect. Each step you take with purpose reinforces your sense of direction, creating momentum. The more you align your actions with your priorities, the easier it becomes to stay on track. The mind is no longer bogged down by endless options or distractions. Instead, it is free to make decisive, impactful moves toward your goals. When you operate with clarity, you also create a mental space where innovation and creativity thrive. Your mind becomes sharp, agile, and adaptable, able to solve problems and think critically in ways that would otherwise be clouded by overwhelm. In a world that constantly pulls at your attention, the power of clarity and focus is a game changer. It doesn't require more effort, it requires less, but in a way that is more meaningful and impactful. When you're clear on your priorities and stay focused on what truly matters, everything else falls into place with far less strain. Chapter 3. Breaking tasks into manageable pieces. The enormity of a task can feel paralyzing. Whether it's a long-term project or a series of smaller responsibilities, when faced with the overwhelming whole, it's easy to get stuck before you even begin. This is where the power of breaking things down comes into play. A task, no matter how complex, becomes far more approachable when it's divided into manageable, bite-sized steps. Instead of seeing a mountain to climb, you start seeing a series of steps that can be conquered one by one. This shift in perspective can transform a sense of dread into one of empowerment. Simplifying complex projects doesn't mean minimizing their importance or glossing over their challenges. It means reframing them in a way that makes progress achievable. The key is to zoom in on the details and break the project into clear, logical segments. These segments act as individual building blocks, each of which can be tackled separately without the burden of the entire task looming over you. By addressing one piece at a time, the task feels less intimidating, and the pressure to be perfect or make rapid progress is removed. When you isolate each component, you gain clarity on how it fits into the larger whole and what steps need to be taken to move forward. Momentum is the driving force behind all progress, and breaking down tasks creates a constant forward motion. Even the smallest action, taken consistently, compounds into meaningful progress over time. When you focus on one piece at a time, you give yourself the opportunity to celebrate small victories. This continual sense of accomplishment propels you forward. The more you succeed at one small piece, the more confident and motivated you feel to continue with the next. This momentum becomes a force of its own, pushing you from one task to the next without the heavy emotional weight of the entire project. What often gets lost in the rush to complete a task is the power of micro-actions, the seemingly insignificant steps that, when taken in succession, build real results. Micro-actions are the small decisions, the little tasks, the quick wins that make a huge difference over time. For example, rather than staring at a blank page for hours, break the task into micro-actions. Write one paragraph, edit one section, review a sentence. Each of these steps may seem small on its own, but they accumulate quickly. As you tick off each small item, you create a sense of achievement and forward progress. This not only combats feelings of stagnation, but also provides you with the motivation needed to tackle bigger and more demanding aspects of the project. Incorporating micro-actions into your daily routine shifts the entire approach to getting things done. Instead of facing a to-do list full of intimidating tasks, you focus on the next small step. Over time, these incremental actions lead to massive changes. It's about trusting the process of small actions stacking up and not waiting for the ideal moment to start. Each moment is an opportunity to take the next small step. With each one, you break the task further down, making it more manageable and less overwhelming. By embracing the art of breaking tasks into manageable pieces, you take control of your workflow, allowing yourself to move through projects at a steady, deliberate pace. This approach reduces stress and increases productivity, ultimately turning a daunting project into a series of achievable, rewarding moments. Chapter 4. Creating a clear and efficient system. In a world filled with distractions and countless responsibilities, chaos often creeps into our daily routines. We juggle tasks, switch between projects, and try to stay on top of it all. Yet, amidst the rush, it's easy to overlook the power of creating systems, structured processes that help you navigate the overwhelm with ease. Rather than simply reacting to every incoming demand or issue, you take control by designing a system that aligns with your needs and supports your goals. A well-thought-out process doesn't just help you get things done, it ensures that each task is approached with clarity and efficiency. Designing a system that works for you requires introspection and a deep understanding of your own habits, strengths, and challenges. Systems are not one-size-fits-all. What works for one person may not work for another. You must consider your specific working style, energy levels, and time constraints. For some, a highly structured schedule works best, where every minute of the day is planned out with precision. For others, a more flexible framework allows room for creativity and spontaneity. The key is to design a system that feels intuitive and natural for you, something that amplifies your strengths and helps you mitigate areas where you struggle. Once you've designed your system, it's time to integrate the right tools and techniques that allow it to function seamlessly. The right tools can transform a simple process into an effective one. Whether it's a digital calendar, task manager, or a physical notebook, selecting tools that enhance your workflow can make the difference between productivity and chaos. It's not about having the most advanced or expensive tools, but about using what best complements your system and lifestyle. For example, if you thrive on visual reminders, using color-coded lists or Kanban boards can make tasks feel more tangible and less abstract. If you work better with time constraints, time-blocking apps or the Pomodoro technique can guide your focus and prevent distractions. Beyond tools, the techniques you use to manage tasks and time are crucial for success. One of the most effective ways to stay organized is by breaking down larger projects into smaller, actionable steps, as previously discussed. But it doesn't end there. Prioritization is an essential part of any system. Identifying your most important tasks and tackling them first ensures that you're spending your energy on what matters most. Using techniques such as the Eisenhower matrix or the ABCDE method allows you to categorize tasks based on urgency and importance, ensuring that the most critical actions get the attention they deserve. Additionally, incorporating routine check-ins, either daily or weekly, allows you to assess where you stand and make necessary adjustments to keep the system running smoothly. When a system is well designed and tailored to your needs, it drastically reduces mental clutter. The constant mental noise of remembering what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, and how it should be done fades away. Instead, there's a sense of order and direction that frees up mental bandwidth for creative thinking, problem-solving, and deeper work. A reliable system provides you with clarity, knowing that you have a clear plan for each day, each task, and each project. As a result, you can focus on the work itself instead of being distracted by the process of managing it. The beauty of creating systems lies in the fact that they function autonomously once set in motion. They act as a framework that guides your actions without requiring constant, conscious effort. The more you refine and use your system, the more natural it becomes. Tasks and decisions flow through the system with minimal resistance, allowing you to spend your energy on execution rather than organization. By reducing decision fatigue, you're able to move through your day with greater ease and focus. In the long run, creating a clear and efficient system is one of the most powerful tools for eliminating overwhelm. It gives structure to your days, brings order to your thoughts, and streamlines your workflow, all while leaving you with more space to think, create, and achieve. The more you invest in developing and refining your systems, the more effortlessly you'll move through your responsibilities, making progress without burning out or feeling lost. Chapter 5. The Role of Mindset in Moving Forward. The way we perceive challenges, tasks, and even ourselves plays a pivotal role in determining our ability to navigate through periods of overwhelm and uncertainty. When faced with an avalanche of responsibilities or an endless list of goals, it's easy to feel paralyzed. A mindset that leans into overwhelm becomes a breeding ground for inaction, where problems feel insurmountable and solutions elusive. But shifting this mindset, moving from a place of overwhelm to one of proactive action, becomes the first step in transforming stagnation into forward motion. A mindset grounded in action doesn't ignore the chaos. Instead, it acknowledges it and focuses on what can be done in the present moment. It understands that progress doesn't always need to be grand or fast. Sometimes, it's the smallest of steps, those seemingly insignificant decisions or actions that begin to break through the inertia. By recognizing the power of starting with just one task, no matter how small, you reframe the overwhelming into something manageable. The notion that everything must be handled at once or perfectly is what paralyzes us. But taking things one step at a time, guided by a mindset rooted in progress rather than perfection, opens the door to moving forward with greater ease. Mindset doesn't just influence how we act, it also governs how we think about what we're doing. A mindset that cultivates action is one that embraces learning, adapts to challenges, and is rooted in the belief that we can create change through effort and persistence. It's not about avoiding the obstacles, but understanding that they are part of the process. When the focus is on progress rather than the pursuit of perfection, setbacks are seen as opportunities to learn and refine, not as signs to quit. This shift in perspective changes everything about how we approach tasks. Tasks no longer feel like burdens, but as stepping stones, and every setback becomes a valuable lesson in resilience. This ability to bounce back, to maintain momentum in the face of challenges, lies in the core of building resilience. Resilience is not simply about enduring difficulty, but rather, it's about cultivating an inner strength that allows you to adapt and rise above adversity. Those who have developed resilience don't see setbacks as failures, but as necessary components of growth. They understand that no journey, whether personal or professional, is linear. Success often comes not from avoiding challenges, but from developing the mental fortitude to keep moving forward, regardless of the bumps along the road. Resilience is also about self-compassion. When faced with a setback, those who approach life with a growth mindset are able to forgive themselves for not being perfect. Instead of harsh judgment, they focus on the lessons gained from each failure and use that knowledge to fuel their next attempt. This is the true nature of resilience, understanding that failure is part of the process and not a reflection of your ability or worth. It's about learning to keep moving forward with determination and optimism, even in the face of adversity. As you make this mindset shift, you'll find that your approach to productivity and action becomes less about struggle and more about flow. With resilience as your foundation, every challenge becomes a chance to learn, every failure an opportunity to grow, and every action, no matter how small, an essential part of the journey. Moving from overwhelm to action isn't just about doing more, it's about doing so with a mindset that empowers and strengthens you at each step. Chapter 6. Managing Expectations and Boundaries. In a world where productivity is often measured by how much we can do, the idea of slowing down or limiting our commitments can seem counterintuitive. Yet, true productivity is not about filling every minute with tasks, but about managing what we take on and how we prioritize. One of the most effective tools in simplifying and getting things done is the ability to manage expectations and set clear boundaries. The first step in this process is recognizing the importance of setting realistic goals. Too often, we fall into the trap of setting grand, lofty objectives that sound ambitious, but fail to align with the reality of our current situation. Setting goals that stretch us, while still being attainable, allows for meaningful progress without unnecessary stress. It's about recognizing where we are now, what we truly want, and what is feasible within the limits of our time, energy, and resources. This doesn't mean lowering standards. It means being honest about what can be accomplished without compromising well-being or overwhelming ourselves. By focusing on goals that are both challenging and realistic, we create a sustainable pace that leads to long-term success. Equally important is the ability to say no. For many, this is one of the hardest aspects of managing expectations. The fear of disappointing others or missing opportunities often leads to overcommitting, stretching ourselves too thin, and ultimately burning out. However, each time we say yes to something that doesn't align with our values or priorities, we're inadvertently saying no to something that does. Learning to say no isn't about rejecting others or opportunities. It's about honoring our time, energy, and resources. It's about giving ourselves the permission to focus on what truly matters, knowing that by saying no in the short term, we are creating space for meaningful progress in the areas that align with our long-term goals. When we learn to say no, we open the door to greater clarity and intention. Instead of reacting to the demands and expectations of others, we begin to proactively shape our own path. Saying no becomes an act of empowerment, a clear declaration that we value our time and energy and are committed to using them wisely. This shift doesn't just protect us from overwhelm. It propels us forward by ensuring we are focused on the things that truly make a difference. Boundaries, too, are essential in preserving our time and energy. Without them, we can easily be pulled in multiple directions, distracted by the needs and desires of others, leaving little left for our own priorities. Establishing strong boundaries isn't about being rigid or unkind. It's about creating a framework in which we can thrive. Boundaries help us define where our responsibilities end and where our personal time begins. They allow us to say, "This is mine," whether that's time for deep work, rest, or personal growth. By protecting this space, we can ensure that our focus is sharp, our energy is sustainable, and our efforts are directed toward what truly matters. The ability to define and uphold boundaries also supports our emotional and mental well-being. When we constantly feel the need to please others or meet external expectations, we risk neglecting our own needs and values. Boundaries help us maintain a sense of control over our lives, reducing feelings of resentment or frustration. By saying no to things that drain us, we create the space needed to say yes to what nourishes us, whether it's time with loved ones, pursuing personal passions, or simply taking a moment to recharge. Managing expectations and boundaries is a dynamic process, one that requires regular reflection and adjustment. It's not about rigidly adhering to rules, but about remaining attuned to what is working and what isn't. As we evolve and our circumstances change, so too should our goals and boundaries. By continually reassessing what we can take on and what we need to protect, we create a framework that supports ongoing growth and achievement without the weight of constant overwhelm. Chapter 7. Prioritizing for maximum impact. In the daily rush to meet deadlines and stay ahead, it's easy to find ourselves inundated with a long list of tasks. Many of these may seem pressing in the moment, but the true challenge lies in discerning which ones will move us closer to our most significant goals. Prioritization is the art of recognizing what truly matters, and this skill separates effective workers from those who simply remain busy without achieving substantial progress. One of the first steps in mastering prioritization is the ability to distinguish between tasks that are truly important and those that merely feel urgent. The difference is subtle, yet crucial. Urgent tasks often scream for attention, demanding an immediate response. They may appear critical, yet they don't necessarily contribute to long-term success or meaningful progress. Important tasks, on the other hand, are those that align with your deeper goals, values, and aspirations. While they may not always demand immediate action, their completion has a significant impact on the bigger picture. This is the essence of effective prioritization, choosing to focus on what will propel you forward in the long run rather than reacting to the latest fire that demands to be put out. Urgency can be misleading. Many of us spend our days responding to the loudest, most demanding tasks, leaving little room for the work that requires deep focus and thoughtful consideration. We answer emails, attend meetings, and manage crises, all while postponing the strategic planning or creative work that will actually move us closer to our bigger goals. While urgent tasks may seem important, they often lack the long-term value that truly impactful work provides. The ability to pause, reassess, and reflect on what will yield the greatest benefits in the long run is what enables us to prioritize with clarity and intention. When we approach our tasks with the mindset that we must constantly be doing something, the line between urgency and importance becomes blurred. The key to breaking free from this cycle is understanding that being busy does not equate to being productive. It's about quality, not quantity. Prioritization helps us move beyond mere activity and toward focused, meaningful work. It ensures that we are channeling our time and energy into tasks that matter, not just those that demand the most immediate attention. To streamline your workflow, focus on the tasks that will have the most significant impact. Start by looking at your long-term goals and values. Which tasks align with these goals? Which activities move you closer to where you want to be in 6 months, a year, or even 5 years? Once you identify these high-impact tasks, make them the cornerstone of your daily work. Rather than filling your schedule with small, inconsequential tasks, create space for the work that will yield the greatest returns in terms of personal growth, career development, and life satisfaction. To enhance your workflow, break down large tasks into smaller, more manageable actions. This will make them less daunting and help you maintain a sense of momentum. Prioritization isn't just about choosing between tasks. It's about creating an approach that allows you to focus on what truly matters without getting bogged down by distractions. As you continue to prioritize effectively, you will start to notice a shift in how you approach your day. Tasks that once seemed overwhelming will become more manageable, and you'll feel a greater sense of accomplishment as you see tangible progress toward your goals. By mastering the art of prioritization, you transform the way you work. Your workflow becomes more purposeful, with fewer interruptions and distractions. The tasks that matter most take precedence, and the noise of unimportant tasks fades into the background. In doing so, you not only become more efficient, but you also achieve a deeper sense of fulfillment, knowing that the time and energy you invest each day are contributing to what truly matters in your life. Chapter 8. Simplifying your environment. The spaces you inhabit, both physical and digital, hold a quiet yet powerful influence over your productivity. Whether you're working from an office, a home desk, or even a coffee shop, the environment you surround yourself with can either enhance your focus or drain your energy. Every item in your physical space, every notification on your phone, and every tab open on your computer competes for your attention. What you often fail to notice is that these distractions, whether visible or not, are silently contributing to your mental overload. A cluttered desk or a disorganized digital workspace may seem harmless at first, but over time, they erode your capacity for deep, uninterrupted work. Physical clutter, like piles of paper, unwashed dishes, or scattered items, signals to your brain that there is unfinished business. Each disorganized object subconsciously demands your attention, making it harder for you to focus. This mental energy spent on distractions can be draining, leaving you with little to devote to the tasks that matter most. Decluttering, therefore, is not just about tidying up. It's about creating an environment that fosters focus and clarity. When your physical space is clean and orderly, your mind can follow suit. A minimalist workspace, free from unnecessary distractions, encourages you to focus deeply and engage fully with the task at hand. Removing visual clutter helps minimize the mental chatter that often hampers productivity. The more streamlined your surroundings, the easier it is to stay present, to zero in on your priorities, and to work with intention. Your digital space can have an equally significant impact on your productivity. Constant digital distractions, from social media notifications to unorganized files, fracture your attention. Every ping or notification pulls you away from the task you were working on, making it difficult to maintain sustained focus. Organizing your digital life means not only decluttering your email inbox or reducing the number of tabs you have open, but also establishing rules for how and when you interact with your devices. By intentionally setting boundaries, you can create a digital environment that supports your work rather than undermines it. Making your environment work for you requires thoughtful, proactive choices. Start by assessing both your physical and digital spaces. Identify the areas that are contributing to your overwhelm and address them directly. Perhaps your desk is piled high with paperwork, or your computer is full of unopened emails and files. Break the task of cleaning up into manageable steps. Maybe you begin by setting a timer for 10 minutes and tackling the clutter bit by bit. Or you could spend a few minutes each day organizing your digital files, unsubscribing from email lists, and setting boundaries for when you will check your devices. Once you've created a space that promotes clarity, the next step is to maintain it. Establish habits for keeping your space organized and free from distractions. When your environment reflects your priorities, it becomes easier to align your actions with your goals. Over time, you'll find that an organized, simplified space doesn't just make you more productive. It transforms the way you feel about work itself. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by chaos, you'll feel empowered, focused, and ready to tackle any challenge that comes your way. Chapter 9. Sustaining Momentum and Avoiding Burnout. Sustaining productivity over the long term is more than just a matter of hard work. It's about knowing how to pace yourself in a way that honors both your goals and your well-being. The drive to accomplish more can sometimes blind you to the physical and emotional signs that your energy reserves are depleting. If you push yourself relentlessly, disregarding the need for rest, you risk falling into the trap of burnout, a state in which your ability to perform at a high level diminishes and everything begins to feel like a burden. The first step in avoiding burnout is recognizing the early signs before they spiral out of control. Fatigue, irritability, and difficulty concentrating are often the first clues that you've been pushing too hard without enough recovery. The body's warning signals should never be ignored. Instead, they should be seen as invitations to take a step back, recharge, and recalibrate. This isn't a sign of weakness, but rather a necessary practice for maintaining long-term productivity. To sustain momentum without sacrificing your health, you must learn to balance effort with recovery. Work hard, but rest harder. Productivity is not about constant output. It's about finding the rhythm that allows you to maintain focus and energy over time. Breaks are essential for ensuring that you don't burn out. By stepping away from work at regular intervals, you give your mind and body the opportunity to reset. These breaks can take many forms, from a few minutes of deep breathing or stretching, to a longer walk outside, or even a few hours of complete disconnection. It's also essential to maintain a sense of purpose and alignment with your deeper goals. When you're working towards something meaningful, it's easier to push through temporary discomfort, but even the most passionate individuals need time to replenish their reserves. By scheduling regular periods of rest, you ensure that you can keep your enthusiasm alive. The power of momentum lies in your ability to maintain it, not in rushing through tasks at breakneck speed. Another critical factor in sustaining momentum is building resilience. Resilience is not just about bouncing back from setbacks, it's about developing the mental fortitude to keep going when things don't go as planned. Life is unpredictable, and challenges will inevitably arise. The key is to view setbacks as part of the journey rather than as obstacles to your progress. Resilience grows when you embrace challenges as opportunities for growth, not as reasons to give up. A crucial aspect of resilience is knowing when to adjust your approach. If something isn't working, it's not a failure. It's an invitation to pivot. Flexibility is an integral part of sustainability. Life evolves, and so should your strategies. The ability to shift your focus or reframe your goals keeps you moving forward even when faced with unexpected circumstances. Ultimately, sustaining momentum and avoiding burnout requires a holistic approach to productivity. This means nurturing your physical health, fostering emotional well-being, and setting boundaries that preserve your energy. By learning to listen to your body and mind, taking regular breaks, and staying connected to your purpose, you can continue to achieve at a high level without losing sight of what truly matters. Chapter 10. Celebrating Progress and Adjusting Plans. Acknowledging progress, regardless of its size, is essential to maintaining the momentum needed to stay productive. It's easy to become fixated on the end goal, to focus solely on the big milestone, and to overlook the incremental steps that pave the way to success. Yet, these small victories hold a unique power. They offer proof that forward movement is happening, and recognizing them helps to build confidence and motivation. The act of celebrating progress, even in the smallest form, rewires the brain to seek out more achievements. It shifts the focus from what still needs to be done to what has already been accomplished, and in doing so, nurtures a sense of fulfillment that propels you toward the next challenge. Many people dismiss these small wins as insignificant, but they play a crucial role in overcoming feelings of stagnation or frustration. It's easy to feel as though you're stuck in a never-ending cycle of tasks that don't seem to lead anywhere. Celebrating minor milestones, whether completing a challenging task, sticking to a schedule, or even just getting through a tough day, gives you tangible proof of progress. These moments reinforce the habit of persistence, demonstrating that your efforts are paying off no matter how modest the outcome seems at the time. Moreover, celebrating progress is not just about rewarding yourself, it's about shifting your perspective. Rather than looking at what's left to do, you begin to recognize the strides you've already made. This shift in focus helps to avoid feelings of being overwhelmed by the enormity of the tasks ahead. When you honor the journey, not just the destination, it becomes easier to keep moving forward. Each step, no matter how small, contributes to the larger picture. By celebrating these steps, you remind yourself that you are on the right path. Reflection plays an equally important role in this process. It's through reflection that you begin to understand what's working and where adjustments need to be made. Often, when progress stalls or goals feel out of reach, it's not because of a lack of effort. It's because the approach or strategy isn't quite right. Without taking the time to reflect, it's easy to fall into a pattern of repetitive actions without recognizing the need for change. Regularly assessing your progress allows you to gain insight into what strategies yield the best results and which ones require refinement. When you reflect, you examine not just the successes but also the setbacks. It's in these moments that the most important lessons are often learned. Adjusting your plans based on reflection is an essential part of progress. Many people make the mistake of sticking rigidly to a plan that no longer serves them. When setbacks occur or results don't meet expectations, they might push harder, trying to force success. But this doesn't always work. The ability to pivot when necessary is what separates sustained success from short-lived bursts of productivity. When you reflect on your progress, it provides you with the clarity needed to adjust your approach. Whether this means changing your strategy, setting different goals, or shifting your focus entirely, the ability to adapt keeps you from becoming disheartened by obstacles. This continual cycle of reflection and adjustment fuels momentum. Instead of allowing setbacks to demotivate you, they become opportunities for growth. Each time you reflect and adjust, you are learning more about yourself, your work, and what helps you thrive. In this way, progress isn't a linear path, but a fluid journey, one that requires flexibility, openness to change, and the courage to make adjustments when needed. Celebrating progress and adjusting plans are not separate activities. They work in tandem to create a sustainable cycle of productivity and growth. As you celebrate each achievement, no matter how small, you reinforce the belief that progress is possible. And as you reflect and adapt, you ensure that the path forward remains aligned with your goals and values. This dynamic process allows you to keep your momentum alive, to stay focused on the bigger picture, and to ultimately achieve the success you desire. Conclusion. As we journey from overwhelm to action, the path forward is not always straight or simple, but it is through embracing a series of intentional shifts that we begin to create lasting change. Every small step, every decision to act, and every moment of clarity builds upon the last, moving us closer to the life we want to lead. The key to unlocking that potential lies in simplicity, not in adding more, but in doing less, and doing it with purpose. By breaking down complex tasks, designing clear systems, and creating an environment that supports our goals, we begin to operate not in a state of chaos, but in a state of focus and intentionality. In moving beyond overwhelm, we must first recognize that it's not about avoiding the challenges, but confronting them with a mindset that embraces action, adaptability, and resilience. As we've explored, the ability to shift our perspectives, redefine our goals, and establish clear boundaries allows us to focus on what truly matters. It is through this lens that we see growth, not as a distant destination, but as a series of interconnected moments that propel us forward. The tools and strategies shared throughout this book are not merely a set of steps to follow, but a call to take ownership of your time, your energy, and your life. By recognizing that the greatest barrier to progress often lies within ourselves, we can break free from the constraints of overwhelm and create a framework for success that works for us. Ultimately, the journey from overwhelm to action is one of continuous refinement. It's not a destination, but a process, one that requires us to celebrate our wins, reflect on our challenges, and adjust our course along the way. As you step forward, remember that clarity and focus are not external achievements, but internal shifts that empower you to take control of your work, your life, and your well-being. Through each choice, each habit, and each day, you can create a life that is not only productive but fulfilling. The time for action is now.